So how do the Denver Broncos stay in their groove? It's more than just running the football. That and more today. Coming up, Orange and Blue today. Cecil Lammy flying solo. Andrew Mason on assignment. This is what the Broncos do to us every day. Every day, like Vic Fangio, right? Except not like Vic Fangio, because this team is winning and it feels glorious. It feels fantastic, and you love to see it, man. I'm so happy for these players. I'm so happy for this team because the hard work that they're doing is coming together, and you can tell out on the football field. That's right, Orange and Blue today, 3:30-ish Mountain Time every day right here. I'm your host, Cecil Lammy, and we've got some studio renovations going on, so I'm in a different studio. But anyway, I'm here with you, and I just got done at the facility watching practice for the Denver Broncos and then talking to players in the locker room. Let's see who talked today. Jerry Jeudy, talked to Kareem Jackson, talked to Mike McGlinchey, talked to Nick Benito. Seems like I'm missing somebody there. But anyway, so like several Broncos talked today in the locker room. And you can feel the confidence and not overconfidence. I want to really stress that. How do the Broncos get back in their groove? How do they stay in their groove? It's by having that chip on their shoulder. That's the thing. Because you can say they can stay in their groove because they can run the ball. Okay, well, what happens when you don't run the ball? What happens when you can't run the ball? I actually surprised that you didn't see Buffalo, who is their own just disaster, mess, trash right now. Okay, I'm surprised Buffalo didn't try to do that, where they stack the line, stuff the run, and force Russell Wilson to beat them. Guess what Minnesota is going to do? Stack the line, stuff the run, force Russell Wilson to beat you. So how do they stay in their groove? It's more than just running the ball, because running the ball is what they should be doing, right? Running the ball is what their game plan needs to be on a weekly basis. They have to run the ball. They have to stay with running the ball. And it's the intent of running that's often more times more important than the result of the carries. So Javonte Williams, get ready for another 20 carry game. That'd be great. More Samaje Perine, that would also work there as well. And I believe Jaleel McLaughlin's about at the role we're going to see him. Maybe he rips off a big play, maybe he doesn't. But overall, to stay in your groove, this groove that they've established, because this is how they did it with everyone under the sun. And I mean everyone under the sun, just preaching how terrible this team was, especially after the Dolphins game. And I'm saying Vance Joseph's going to get fired, all the sorts of stuff, right? And I still think Vance Joseph's track record isn't enough for you to look at it and say he saved his job. Vance Joseph's never been really that good. 1 year at Arizona, he wasn't good with Miami. He was okay as a position coach with Cincinnati, but like more than 3 games, again, Shania Twain, that don't impress me much. But this team is so impressive because they've stayed together. So how do they stay in their groove? They stay together. What brought them together? All the doubt, all the hate, all the naysayers, everyone just ignoring this team, everyone saying the Broncos are trash, Russell Wilson's garbage, Sean Payton doesn't know what he's doing, he should have stayed at TV, like everything that you possibly could have said about this team, right? Everything. You look across the board, every single thing that you could have possibly said about the Denver Broncos and how it wasn't working, they just use that as tackling fuel. They use that to stay together, and then now it's working. So how do they stay in their groove? The easy answer, honestly, to me, is they just got to stay with that chip on their shoulder. And it's indeed something. I just got to shout out Gage here real quick. What's up, Gage? Anyway, it's one thing that you see with this team, and that's why the feel is different out at Centura Health Training Center. And listen, I work construction, I work machine shop. Like I know blue collar labor, farmer, rancher, whatever. So when I say it wasn't fun to go out there, I'm not saying it's not fun to cover the NFL. Obviously, it's fun to cover the NFL, but just the mood, right? Everyone's on eggshells. Everyone's thinking like, am I the reason why? Am I going to get blamed? Am I going to get cut? Am I going to get traded? So you had all of this swirling around them, and somehow, some way, they've stuck together and they worked their way through it. So how do they stay in the groove? The groove was established by the chip on the shoulder. The groove was established by the coach that is tyrannical, no doubt. There's no doubt that Sean Payton is a tyrant, like none. I don't even say that as an insult. Honestly, it's kind of a compliment in NFL ranks. He's certainly not a player's coach. As I've often said, I know a lot of longtime Saints that everybody would know their names that aren't really fans of Sean Payton because of his style. But that style has forged coal into diamonds. Not everybody. They don't have enough talent, but they've got some talent. And they got better talent than they had with that. At one time they were 1-5. Is that right? And now looking to push for the playoffs with another win against Minnesota. We're going to break down this game tomorrow. Mace will be joining me tomorrow. We might be doing the show in here. We'll figure it out, because our studio is getting renovated. It's been popular. It's been great to have everyone's response to our digital platform at denversports.com. So we're getting an upgrade, and we appreciate everyone for jumping on board. Like, comment, share, subscribe, notification bell, never miss a vid, all those sorts of things. But the Broncos' groove was not just established by the run, because the run doesn't matter if they don't believe in each other. The run doesn't matter if they're not seeing the results and then knowing that it will work. The stick-to-itiveness that this team has had is one of the most remarkable things of this NFL season. And 2023 has been full of twists and turns and surprises and shock and awe and all these sorts of things. But the thing with the Broncos, the biggest thing that we can talk about is the stick-to-itiveness and how they've stayed together. Nobody outside of some diehard Broncos fans, and trust me, I know some diehard Broncos fan. I'm just a fan. Doesn't matter what. Let's go Broncos. Like, okay, if you're that guy, do your victory lap, right? Toast to you. A toast. I got water. A toast to you, because you were one of the only people out there saying, like, hey, guess what? They could get back in this thing. And the thing is, when you look at it, and I was talking to some NFL types today before practice, is like, Sean Payton didn't forget how to coach. Sean Payton's tough to get along with. Sean Payton's a bit of a curmudgeon. Sean Payton is a tyrant. But guess what? He didn't forget how to coach. And this league did not pass him by, although in a year, the league has definitely changed. And we're seeing, shifts and motions and all these things. It just reminds me of what Buffalo is not doing. That's for sure. Anyway, Swink says a few diamonds and some cubic zirconias. Right. I could see that. Yeah, that's right, Gage. Let's go. New studio, probably new year. I mean, this is a big project, massive. It's incredible what was going to be set up here at denversports.com. Let's go, baby. And let's go Broncos, because again, the groove was established by the belief in each other. The groove was not established by just the ground game. You're just running Javonte. It doesn't matter if you're not winning. So the groove is established by the belief and the faith that those players had in each other. Continue that going forward. We might see Quinn Bailey in on the offensive line. This is a concern against the Minnesota Vikings, because all season long, you've had the same 5 starting offensive linemen. And then last week, you saw Ben Powers get injured, try to play with it, and that's why he struggled and he had such a bad game. And a large portion of the time, especially with a seasoned pro like a Powers, I would say this about McGlinchey, but we don't have any injury news on McGlinchey. Wait till after the season if there's something. Anytime we see veteran plugged in, bunch of money, the low-hanging fruit when they struggle is like, they overpaid him, that guy sucks. Well, maybe that could happen. But maybe he's hurt. And with Powers, you saw it. Like, he did not have a good game against Buffalo. Not at all. Lloyd Cushenberry didn't have a good game. By the way, he was pulled for 3 plays. Luke Wattenberg, we talked about that yesterday. But when you look at the situation, you go, it's been all the 5 same guys. Now this week it might not be, but it's the belief in each other, right? That's the belief in each other. That's what has propelled this group to establish that groove and establish the 3-game winning streak. Israel says, let's make it 4. That's right. Let's go Broncos, right? Because this is how you roll in the NFL. It is so God-blessed difficult to win in this league. It's not as easy to just show up and you're playing a kid's game. Like, there's strategy, obviously injuries, there's execution that you must have. And so it's been a slower start, but it has come together. And again, talking to NFL people today before practice, I want to remind you, and it's one of the teams I am incredibly close to. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. You've heard me a million times say I love Howie Roseman, and there are NFL types that take a drink. It's like the drinking game for anytime I'm on the air when I say I love Howie Roseman, the Eagles GM, because I love Howie Roseman, and I'm going to take a drink because I'm talking a lot. I want to remind you, and I'm not saying that they are the Eagles of 2021, okay? I don't want to say that. I don't want any, don't at me, bro. Cecil Lammey said the Broncos are like the Eagles. Like, no. But I just want to remind you that at one point, that team with Jalen Hurts was 2-5. They lose, I believe, a Thursday night game to Tampa Bay. Then after that, they kind of switched gears because they were trying to pass with Jalen Hurts, and it wasn't working at the time. No A.J. Brown, of course. I think Jalen Reagor was still on the team, or the first-round pick. Yeah, okay, a bust that Howie Roseman got rid of. He went and got A.J. Brown, but that was the next year. That was 2022. That was last year. And Jalen Hurts took those steps as a passer. And again, Russell Wilson is a veteran. Jalen Hurts was a youngster. But either way, you had a team that was 2-5, and then they figured out, like, hey, he can't do that stuff, but what he can do, he can run the ball, and we can run the ball, and we can win some games. And they rallied. Where's Jose at? Jose, Gage, maybe even Jason, a pot stoner degenerate up in Greeley. Grab me the stats on their end record. Again, talking to NFL types today before practice, and I was reminded of that Philadelphia team, which I was like, oh, yeah, I remember, because Jalen Hurts didn't look very good. And then they're just like, let's just run the ball. And they ran the ball, and they won games. So somebody in the chat, look up the record for 2021 Eagles because they started out a 2-5 record. Now you look at the Denver Broncos, and again, they're not the same thing, but we've seen this before. Now it's with Russell Wilson, the veteran, but like, okay, so you're not throwing the moon balls and you're not running the sale concepts, but they're winning because they're running, and Russ is listening. Okay? Russ is listening. He's one of 4 quarterbacks with no interceptions thrown in the red zone, minimum 50 attempts. One of 4 quarterbacks in the league. So I'm not going to bring up the QBR and quarterback rating, because anytime someone does that, I say it with me. How is it calculated? Nobody knows. QBR, you kind of know, but quarterback rating, you don't know. So you're just like, I don't know. It's just a number. Yay, numbers. Stats can be deceptive. But I'll tell you this. God bless America. When I tell you that he is one of 4 quarterbacks that has 0 interceptions in the red zone with minimum 50 attempts, like, that says a lot about how he's working within the structure of what he's been given. What he's been given isn't what Sean Payton wants to do. What he's been given isn't really what he wants to do, because he wants to throw the moon balls. But Russ is listening. He's targeting Cortland Sutton, being amazing on that connection, throwing it up, let the big man go get it. He's also, when he takes off to run, he usually makes an immediate decision, which is good. Again, this is maybe, kind of more simplified stuff, but I don't care, because the results are there. Hey, Russell Wilson doesn't read the field and he takes off to run. Yeah. Did they get a first down? Did the chains move? That's all I give a damn about. And we know the answer. The answer is yes. Yes, it's working with Russell Wilson. And you also see it when he breaks the pocket, and he'll have Javonte in front of him, or maybe Samaje, or just a little short, like dump, a little right there, a little dump off pass, right? Might even shovel it a little bit. But Russ, instead of like pointing at the guy to block, he just flips it to the guy. That's coaching. That's coaching. That's not Russell Wilson. If it's up to Russell Wilson, I can do it all. Like, you can't do it all. Josh Allen can't do it all. Buffalo's not learning their lesson. It's not a Bills show. It is a Broncos show. And with Russell Wilson, you're seeing that he's running what he's been given, and he's running it pretty damn good. So they're winning, and they're building confidence that they can do more. Now, the next test will be when someone sends the house and, stuffs the run. See more butts. Let's go Broncos country. That's right. David says, is K-Jack back? I talked to K-Jack today. He's probably going to be starting. He didn't say that. But the P.J. Locke injury, of course, is kind of a gut punch, because the way P.J. Locke has played, really good young player. I like him a lot. And I believe Locke would be the starter if he was healthy. But Kareem Jackson back. I feel sorry for Kareem. I talked to him, and he talked to the media, and it was one of those things where he doesn't know what to do. really. He's going to lower his target point, which means someone's knees are getting taken out. So the NFL, you don't want big hits. It's all about player safety. The only reason the NFL says that is because they don't want to get sued by players who have massive brain trauma when their playing days are done. And it gets pretty dark when you look into the CTE problems, and I don't necessarily want to go there, but don't think for a second that the NFL gives a damn about their players. They just don't want to get sued. So watch out for head injuries. Well, now everyone's knee's going to get shredded. You happy? Because Kareem's going to lower that aiming point. But he has talked to a Derek Brooks with the NFLPA. He's talked to a John Runyon also with in the league office, and he said it himself. He'd hang up the phone with no answers. So they're not giving him. There's no black and white. There's no one thing they can point to. It's just kind of this hazy rule. That looked like a bad hit, even though it was shoulder. The Musgrave hit specifically. Jacoby Myers, I mean, is straight up headhunting him. I mean, that's just the way it was with Jacoby Myers. But the Luke Musgrave, and I love Luke Musgrave, but like that's a shoulder hit. But because it's Kareem and it looks dirty and it looks heavy and it looks bad, the NFL suspended him. So he's back, and it's good to see. You know, Sean Payton told him, we're rolling, don't mess it up. Have to clean it up for podcasting purposes, but like, yeah, let's do this thing. By the way, Gage says 9-7-1, 9-8, 2021 Eagles. Okay, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, there you go. Timeline for PJ's injury, I'm not exactly sure yet. Yes, that's right. My facial hair is coming back. Yes, and Gabe brings up, here's one of the problems with some of the talent that you've assembled. Greg Dulcich is a great player. He's always hurt. There's no denying Greg Dulcich's talent. He's a great player. He's always hurt. Caden Stearns. I remember Caden Stearns as a freshman down in Austin. He was awesome. And what happened to sophomore through the rest of his college career? He got hurt all the time. What's happened in the pros? He gets hurt all the time. PJ Locke. It's a great player. He gets hurt all the time. So part of the flaw in talent evaluation is, one, George Payton is not getting enough good talent. I mean, Delarian Turner-Yell is nice on special teams, but whatever. He's terrible on defense, just terrible, and will never be Tariq Woolen. We already know that. It's a mistake, huge mistake. The Montreal Washington thing, do I even have to bring that up? But one of the problems and the biggest flaw in the talent evaluation for this team is they're just not getting guys that can stay healthy. And injuries can happen to anybody, but you watch for the injury-prone players. And I know that there's a lot of doctors out there that are uncomfortable with injury-prone as a term, but it's just, all I know is the guys that get hurt a lot seem to get hurt a lot. Okay? Was that injury prone? I don't know. But I know this. It's something the Broncos have invested in, and it's not great. Did you see him at the Shrine game? I've seen a lot of players at the Shrine game. Caden Stearns, I believe, was Senior Bowl. But lots of players on this Broncos team ready to step up. But how do they stay in their groove? It's the belief in themselves. It's the chip on their shoulder. Nobody still believes in them, and that's fine. Fine. Israel asked about Dulcich being back. Lucas Kroll. Lucas Kroll is your answer. I didn't see him in the locker room today. Mason and I were hunting for him. We're like, we got to talk to Lucas Kroll because he's one of our favorites. That's your answer. Dulcich could be back for what, a week? 2 weeks, whatever. And no, we don't have any update on that, but it's like Dulcich is back for a month. Hey, he stayed healthy for 4 games. Whatever. Like, you need to move on. If you are the Broncos, you need to like make plans. You got to have tight ends that are going to be out there. And Lord knows Adam Troutman, God bless him, but my God, he cannot break a tackle to save his life. I wanted to bring up this one. There was a chat in here. Yes, Israel, we need to turn field goals into TDs. Agree with that. Wes, one of our favorites right here. Wes says this: time for the Dobbs Cinderella story to end on Sunday. And I've said this before. I said it on the Audible this morning, and I hopefully I didn't hurt anybody's feelings. Y'all are sensitive out there. Josh Dobbs is a great story. He's not a good quarterback. Like, and again, it's a great story. An aerospace engineer, and he's the astronaut, and he's the smartest guy in the room. Not Sean Payton, smartest guy in the room. Just ask him, because he's an Aloha. like smartest guy in the room because he's an aerospace engineer, because he's Josh Dobbs. That's a great story. And I saw him at the Senior Bowl, by the way, for Jason, our pot stoner degenerate in Greeley. Josh Dobbs didn't all of a sudden become great. And I don't say this with any sort of disrespect, okay? And I know if you are the Jets, you would love a Josh Dobbs. You'd probably be in the playoff push if you had a Josh Dobbs, okay? If you were, Arizona moved on from him, if you were Cleveland right now, because Arizona got Kyler Murray back, of course. But if you were Cleveland right now, the Browns, Deshaun Watson on IR, he's made $91 million to play 11 games in 2 years. Deshaun Watson, everybody. Karma, everybody. I guess, although if you're getting paid $91 million, how is that bad karma? Anyway, let me not talk about Deshaun Watson because that makes me happy. But if you are the Browns, who are in a playoff legit defense, if they had Josh Dobbs, that's a different story. If you had Josh Dobbs and Nick Chubb on the Browns, they could push for a Super Bowl with that combination because of Nick Chubb and because Dobbs would do enough, not really give it away, whatever. And in talking to Nick Bonito today, Broncos locker room, Broncos edge rusher, they know his game. And that doesn't mean Dobbs can't come out and have a great game and don't at me, bro, all these sorts of things. But we have to talk honestly. Again, seek the truth and speak the truth. It is not just about the Broncos. Because I know there's fandoms like, you only say, and I've seen it in the comments, by the way, YouTube comments are interesting at times. But I've seen the comments, you're like, I'm out of here. You said something bad about the Broncos. Okay, see ya, Pollyanna. Like, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to lie to you. You want to go get lied to? There's plenty of other shows out there. There's plenty of other outlets. Go. You want to talk football. You want to talk ball. You want to talk about your Broncos. And we're excited about these Broncos. You want to talk realistically? Then this is the show for you. If you want smoke blown up your ass, then find another show. If you want bubbles blown at you because you can't hear anything bad about your Broncos, then go. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I'm going to tell you the truth because you guys are smart. Broncos country is a smart fan base. They're a fan base that has been spoiled most of their lives except for the last 7 years. So when I say that about Josh Dobbs, it's not because I think he's a slappy. Again, saw Dobbs, talked to Dobbs down at the Senior Bowl. I appreciate him. But why did he fall out of favor with so many teams? It's not all of a sudden just going to click. And now he's, Rich Gannon or whatever. And Gannon made a hell of a run, certainly during his time. Kansas City should have played him instead of Elvis Gerbach back in that playoff game against Denver, by the way. And then had his run with the Raiders, whatever. But so that story does happen where a guy bounces around a little bit, right? Gannon is the first example I would think of. I know there's others. I'm not going to think of them right now. But with Dobbs, is he that guy? Is he the next Rich Gannon? Or is he, a good enough quarterback with a really interesting story? And I love his approach to things, right? It was Micah Parsons who was had a dartboard, right? With, I think it was a photo of Josh Dobbs, and Micah Parsons was throwing the darts at it. And then Dobbs went on social media and he did the video of him dodging the darts in person. Someone was throwing darts at him at the parking lot. So I love Josh Dobbs' approach, right? It's kind of like the Geno Smith approach. Like, hey, y'all wrote me off. I didn't write you back. I love that dude. That's fantastic. And Dobbs is a great young man. He's a great person. And he's an okay quarterback. But let's not act like they're out there against Dante Culpepper or Fran Tarkenton or Tommy Kramer. I'm trying to think of all the Vikings quarterbacks of the past, right? That's exhausted my knowledge of Vikings quarterbacks, although I'm Brett Favre, right? When he's a Viking. But either way, yeah, Dobbs. It's a midnight, baby. It's midnight. You come to Denver. You come to the Mile High City, and that carriage is a pumpkin. It's midnight. And the clock strikes midnight at 6:15 Mountain Time on Sunday night football. And yeah, it's a great story. He's not a great quarterback. And there's no insult in saying that. How do they beat him? We'll get into that on tomorrow's show. Had some conversation about that, just going through the chat room here. Appreciate you all for chatting and checking out the show. And yes, Mace always says it. Availability is as important as talent. And they've got guys that aren't available. Israel I'm calling it Mims with a TD return against the Vikings. I'm glad you said TD return, Israel, because receiving touchdown might not happen. I'm sad about that. I think and yes, Gabe, they are going to must rush him, in my opinion. It's what they did with Josh Allen. And in fact, Nick Bonito talked about that. He didn't tell us specifically. I want to be very clear. Nick Bonito did not tell us they were going to must rush him, but he just commented on how facing a Josh Allen, now facing a Josh Dobbs, Dobbs will take off and run. Again, dude's doing the math in his head. Like, rather than make that throw that he sees the whole field, he'll just run, because that's easier to pick up the yards that are necessary to keep the chains moving. So there you go. Anyway, Jason's like Todd Marinovich. Actually, I'm Facebook friends with Todd Marinovich, who is a painter and like a surfer in California. Really feel sorry for him. He's got great art though, and NFL art too. So if you can find his Facebook page, go buy yourself a Todd Marinovich original. It's actually not that much. Anyway, should be a great spy. Darrell Henderson or Ty Chandler. Not Chandler. Okay. We'll get into the game plan a little bit more on tomorrow's show. Lurker Troy enjoying the banter. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I only like my blubbles with Lawrence Welk. That's right. Oh, Brian, yes, that Brian. Nobody lies about subprime. Brian can't stand Deion Sanders. I love Deion Sanders. And yeah, things have went off the rails. Can we say that? Everybody can say that. Again, seek the truth and speak the truth. That's it. Is Dobbs trying to be an astronaut? He could be. Aerospace engineer. We're with you, Velocity. I appreciate that support. And thank you for being with us here. That looks like a wrap for today's program. Again, Mace out of the facility. We got a lot coming together for you. Denversports.com, phenomenal, amazing. Again, we got a new studio that's getting built for us. So be bringing that. And with the size of the project, I won't reveal too much, but we're looking at January by the time we get back into our regular studio. Might be sooner than that, but with Christmas and everything, maybe we just push it back to January. Either way, your response has been huge. I know our YouTube audience is going to keep growing. So you were here first. You're like Marco Polo, right? Like, I got it. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, never miss a vid. Denversports.com. Sign up for that Denver Sports Daily. It's a free daily newsletter, hot and fresh, right to your inbox with the top Denver sports news. That is the Denver Sports Daily, available at denversports.com. I'm Cecil Lammy saying, appreciate you all. Thank you all so very much for watching this show. And oh my goodness, got some big stuff coming for you. So keep it locked and stay tuned. And as always, stay frosty.